I'm Sonika, welcomes you again in Inspiring Women series, and today I have an eminent guest, Dr. Malini ji. She is the principal of Swastik National School and guest faculty in St. Agnes Center for PG Studies and Research. She is PhD holder and distinguished Toastmaster and co-author of Vista. She has been bestowed such awards as Talented Teacher, Best Anchor, and Woman of Substance. It's honor to have you, ma'am, on this platform and heartily welcome you on the Golden Mangoreal Stories.
Thank you, Sonika. It's actually an honor for me that you have invited me to this platform. It's a new experience as well, and let me congratulate you on this new endeavor enterprise of yours.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure of all mine. As you know, we reveal the secret of success over this platform and we shall find the new ways to live. So let's start with Malini ji. Malini ji, please tell us about your childhood days. Like, where did you born and brought up, and how was your childhood?
Okay. I think my childhood was like the childhood of any average Indian middle class child. We did
Okay.
not belong to an affluent class, neither did we have any problem with the finance and things like that. I think it is nice that way because you don't have too many hardships that make your life bitter for you. At the same time, you don't take things for granted. You know how to value life, you know how to value things which are of real high quality because your parents will give you that kind of upbringing where you
Hmm.
have proper values. So I must say that I had a good upbringing. My parents were both educated for their times because my mother
Okay.
studied up to her 8th standard
Hmm.
pre-independence era. So 8th standard
Hmm.
of those times I think is like our
Yeah,
degree.
it's very big thing. Hmm.
Yes. And both of them brought us up well, and I'm
Hmm.
thankful to my parents for that.
Okay, how was your nature in those days? Like we transformed with times. But how was your nature in childhood days? You were naughty, you were calm girl. How was you?
I was naughty. I was
Okay.
naughty. Unlike my sisters, we are seven in the family. My
Mm.
first two are my brothers, and then we are five girls, Panchakanyas. I'm the youngest. So I think being the youngest, I was also
Ji.
the one who was the favorite of all, the apple of the
Mm.
eye of all my elder brothers and sisters and my parents, of course. So I was naughty, and one of my aunts used to always warn my mother and say, take care, this girl is going to put you in trouble because of the kind of mischief that I used to indulge. But I can tell you, I
Mm.
did not put my parents into any trouble. They were proud of me. They are no longer there. We lost them a few years ago. But of course, I was naughty.
Mm. Lovely. Okay, when you wake up in the morning, so what the first thing comes in your mind?
I think if you put this question to any woman who has no help at home, the first thing
Okay.
is the question mark as to what is it that you're going to put on the table. So it is all what you do in the kitchen that
Yes, right,
and
right, right. I agree on
I
this.
needed.
Hmm.
So I have to do everything on my own. So naturally, philosophical ideas don't come to your mind. The first thing
Hmm.
that comes to your mind is very practical. What is it that you're going to prepare and put on the table?
Actually, okay, if you need to define yourself individually, who is Malini? So, how would you define yourself in three words?
Okay, not in 3 words. I will define
Hmm.
myself in 5 words. A
Ji.
person who values life. I always feel that I will never take this precious gift of life for granted. So I try to do complete justice to the 60 seconds in a minute and
Hmm.
60 minutes in an hour and 24 hours in a day. I will never squander life. I will never waste what is given to me.
Okay. Okay, so please tell us about your educational background. How was your early schooling, and what did you choose in your college time?
All right. In fact, my parents wanted me to join an English medium school, and they also put me in an English medium school. That was way back when I was in Udupi, St. Cecilia's, run by
Hmm,
AC nuns.
hmm,
So I went to school the first day, and I came to know that my neighbor, my close friend as well, was in
hmm,
Kannada medium, because those days there was a difference in the fee structure, which her parents were not able to afford. So I
hmm,
was disappointed that I didn't have my friend in English medium. So I came home
hmm,
and argued with my parents and made them put me in Kannada medium.
hmm,
And then after my completion of seventh standard, the school offered me a seat in English medium because my percentage was high. But that time
hmm.
also I didn't want to take it up, because I thought
Okay.
suddenly my marks would come down from Kannada medium to English medium. My marks would come down. Till then I was a
Hmm.
topper, so I didn't want that. So I was
Okay.
exposed to English
Hmm,
completely, although otherwise also we had English as a language, as a
hmm,
medium of education, only when I joined PU, because from PU the medium of education was in English. And after
hmm.
PU, I thought to myself, my Kannada, that's the local language here, Sonika.
Local language. Ji.
Yes, that's Kannada. So I thought I
Hmm,
used to write in Kannada. So my creative writing in Kannada was good. My standard in Kannada was high. So I told
hmm,
myself, okay, I'm good now in
hmm,
Kannada. So let me now try to improve my English. That's when I
hmm,
took English literature for my
hmm,
degree. And
hmm.
after I took English literature for my degree, I also took English literature for my post graduation. But then soon
Okay.
after my BA, I was married. So I did my correspondence course, Mysore
Hmm,
University, in MA
hmm,
English. And
hmm.
after many years of my marriage and of my children, even,
Hmm.
I did my MPhil. And
Okay.
finally, in
Hmm.
2012, I did my PhD. So I
Great.
took a real long time, I must say, to do
Hmm.
my PhD. I could have done it earlier, but that's how it is. I did it only in 2012.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful journey actually. And as you told me, like you started your schooling from local language, that was Kannada, and after seventh you started your studies from English medium.
Not
So
seventh,
how
after 10th. Seventh
after
also,
tenth?
I chose to be in Kannada medium. After 10th,
Okay,
English
hmm.
is mandatory. So it's not
English is
my
mandatory.
choice, but medium of instruction is English after 10th.
Hmm. So how much was challenging to turn from Kannada to English medium for you?
Not very, but then
Hmm,
of course, when it comes to written English,
hmm,
those of us who have studied the language consciously are very
hmm,
good at it, because we
hmm,
are aware of the grammatical rules, we are aware of the structure and all that, and we write
hmm,
well. But when it
hmm,
comes to the spoken English,
hmm,
sometimes we do have certain levels of diffidence. So
hmm.
when I joined PU, I told my English medium classmates that I wanted to improve my English, and I told them to
Okay.
speak to me only in English. And I
Hmm,
also told them that they should correct me if I made mistakes, because
hmm,
I wanted to improve myself in that particular language, as I was already good at Kannada.
hmm,
But it wasn't very challenging, because from sixth standard itself, even Kannada
hmm,
medium students have English. It's not that it's a totally new language.
hmm.
So that's how it was.
So you dealt with it. Okay. How did you start your career? Please tell us about those days.
Yes. In fact, I never thought I would end up working, because
Hmm,
in my husband's family, those days, none of the daughters in law was
hmm.
employed. Later on,
Okay.
of course, my husband's brother's wife is my own sister. After that, she also became a headmistress of a school. So there were
Hmm,
changes. But at that point of time, I'm talking to you about the year 1981, because the last day of 1980, December 31st, I was
hmm.
married. So I'm
Okay.
talking about those years. In my family, there wasn't a working woman.
Hmm.
So I
Okay.
thought my husband also wouldn't like the idea of a working wife.
mm,
So I was hesitant, but then one of my teachers wanted me to
mm,
assist her, and she asked me whether I could assist her in college, that is Roshni Nilaya.
mm,
So I very hesitantly asked my husband. He said, "Okay, you are helping your teacher, you can." But once I
mm,
started teaching, I thought
mm,
that I had to make use of my opportunity and I had to take that as a career. And I
mm,
asked my husband again.
mm,
And of course, I think now there is no question of asking and all that because girls do what they want to do. But
mm,
decades ago, we thought
mm,
we had to. But of course, discussion is always good, right? Whether it is today or whether it was in those years, discussion is
mm,
important. Then he said,
mm,
fine, because it's a very reputed college, St. Agnes College. It's the
mm,
first women's college in the whole of South India. It is a century old college, actually.
mm,
So he was fine with the idea of my
mm,
taking the job, and I was lucky in being chosen by the
mm,
college authorities. That's how my
mm.
career began way back in
Mm.
1984 in St. Agnes College. And
Okay.
2020, I retired. And after I
Okay.
retired, it's
Mm,
a direct opposite. St. Agnes College is a huge college with 100 years history. Now,
mm.
I have become the principal of a small college, which is into its
Okay.
second year. It is into its
Okay.
second year. And we have
Mm,
just 76 students in our college. So
mm.
it's a direct contrast to the college where I was teaching. But I'm very happy to belong to this
Okay.
particular college. They
Mm,
call it Swastika National School, but it is
mm,
actually a degree college.
mm,
And I'm very happy to be the principal in its stage of inception. It's
mm,
nice to belong to an
mm,
institution which is just taking its toddler
mm,
steps.
mm. Okay, so you started your career after marriage, right?
Yes.
So, how did you manage your time? Like on those days, how did you cope up with those little things, your personal life with your professional life?
Very difficult. It's very
Mm,
difficult. It was very difficult because
mm,
I'm a mother of three daughters. And
mm,
1984, the first one, 84 June. So you can imagine I had hardly started my career when I had my first one. 1987 is the second one. 1992 is the birthday of my third one.
mm,
It was very difficult because you know how the servant problem is there. It's difficult to get. And those days in Mangalore, we did not have any particular place for babysitting, no crush, no nothing. So it
mm,
was very difficult. The only
mm,
saving grace was that my parents
mm,
were in Mangalore, and
mm,
my brother and my sister-in-law were with them, and I
mm,
could take my children when I was at the dead end of the road, when I had no option at all, maids
mm,
leaving and going, and no option. I could take my children there, and
mm,
they would take care of them. So when I
mm,
look at employed women, I always feel
mm,
sad for them. I at least had this support system in my life. But there are
mm,
so many who don't have any support system and they have to give
mm,
up their career. What choice do
mm.
they have? They have to give
Correct.
up their career. That is the biggest problem for working
Mm,
women, that there isn't
mm,
a proper support system. So I
mm,
think we have to think on those lines as to how we actually
mm,
have, if there
mm,
a bank can think of
mm,
having that creche so that their employees can bring their children there. Educational
mm,
institutions should have
mm.
that babysitting so that
Babysitting,
their
yes.
employees can bring their children there. Such
Mm,
changes we need in society if women have to really come up in
mm.
life. Otherwise, our careers will be aborted.
Very well said. Okay, so you devoted your life to the teaching, right? So, what was your mindset behind it? What made you choose this career?
I feel teaching career is a vibrant one. We never
Mm,
stagnate. We come across new students every year, especially
mm,
English teachers. We don't get the same batches again and again. It's always a new
mm,
batch. So we come
mm,
across, say, 300 plus students every year. That itself
mm,
is a learning, that you deal with
mm,
new sets of students, new
mm,
mental makeup, everything new. That is
mm,
one thing. Secondly, in teaching career, you have to keep yourself updated,
mm.
because next to the film stars, teachers are the ones who are in the public eye, I feel.
Actually,
You get a lot of
true.
adulation, you also
Mm,
get a lot of criticism. So you have to
mm,
see that you do justice to your role. If you
mm,
aren't thick skinned, if I'm not bothered about what my students say about me, maybe I will
mm,
not try hard. But if I'm
mm,
sensitive and if I want my image to be
mm,
a sound image, I keep upgrading myself, I keep learning. So that's the
mm,
second advantage of being a teacher. We will never be outdated.
mm. Right. Okay, I want to know, actually, I want to take your opinion on it. A teacher has the responsibility on its shoulder to shape the future, right? What are the needed actions should be taken at bench level for gender equality?
Okay, you're questioning me only on gender equality, right?
Yes.
Yes. I think there are many things which should come in at the grassroots level. As the
Mm,
saying goes, even on your admission form, even to this day, it is your
mm,
father's name that is asked for. So a
mm.
child looking at such a form will definitely have this idea in the
In
mind
his head,
that it is, yes, a father's,
is superior.
world.
Mm,
It's not the mother's world, it's the father's world. Mother's world is inside the four walls of the home, and father's world is outside.
mm,
Now, gender equality lessons that
mm,
will put these ideas in an indirect manner. I'm not saying in a direct manner, but in an
mm,
indirect manner, showing that women have to be respected, women have to be
mm,
given the choice. All these
mm,
things should start right from the beginning, not
mm,
later on. Now, all
mm,
these gender sensitization and all that, we begin at a much later level.
mm,
It should
mm,
not be so. A child, a male child, should
mm,
think of household chores as his responsibility, as it is his sister's responsibility. Not only in school, at home. If I expect my daughter to
mm,
wash the plate in which she eats, I must expect my son to do that as well. Neither parents nor
mm,
teachers should have any disparity in their attitude towards boys and girls, and they must take extra care to see that boys learn how to respect girls. That
mm.
question of respect should be there.
Actually, you earn highest recognition of distinguished Toastmaster. So please share your experience because you became, I think, 4 times Toastmaster.
Distinguished
Yeah.
Toastmaster 4 times.
Hmm.
Yes, Toastmasters is actually a non-profitable worldwide organization,
Hmm.
and more than 3 lakh members are there in
Hmm.
nearly 168 countries or something like that, 1600,
Hmm.
16,000 clubs and things like that. It is an international organization with
Hmm.
the twin motive of public
Hmm.
speaking and leadership. So these
Hmm.
two things go hand in hand. So if you
Hmm.
have to become a distinguished Toastmaster,
Hmm.
you have many speech manuals that you have to complete. And
Hmm.
along with those speeches that you make in your clubs,
Hmm.
you also have leadership going hand in hand.
Qualities. Hmm.
We must also take up roles at the club level,
Hmm.
at the area, division, district level. So you have those two criteria:
Hmm.
speeches, public
Hmm.
speaking, and
Hmm.
leadership. So
Hmm.
I have done it 4 times simply because I have been a
Okay.
Toastmaster since 2002.
Hmm.
So, what do you do with yourself when you are a member? You make speeches,
Hmm.
you take up
Hmm.
positions, you become an
Hmm.
officer. So, by
Yes.
default, I think I'm a distinguished Toastmaster 4 times, because once you are a
Hmm.
member who is,
Hmm.
such a long-standing member, you will end up. taking up projects and fulfilling that.
Okay, so what did you mainly learn from Toastmaster leadership?
Yes. Now, it's not necessary that
Hmm.
we have to learn only from Toastmasters, in the sense,
Hmm.
the kind of I always care for emotional quotient. I feel the first
Hmm.
characteristic a leader should have is emotional quotient of knowing what is
Hmm.
it that the other person needs. As they say,
Hmm.
you must look at another person and recognize that the other person also has one label that I want to feel important.
Hmm.
Every one of us has that. No, I want to feel
Hmm.
important. I
Hmm.
recognize it in myself. Do I
Hmm.
recognize it in another when I look at another person? So that
Hmm.
kind of emotional quotient is necessary for a
Hmm.
leader, basically. Forget about the ability to organize and things like that. I feel the
Hmm.
ability to look into another
Hmm.
person's needs, that is
Hmm.
what is required for a good leader. If I'm able
Hmm.
to recognize that, automatically
Hmm.
people who are with me are happy to have me at the helm of affairs. But if I fail to
Yes.
recognize that, people with me are not happy to have me as a leader. They might not openly say that, but they're not happy to have me because they recognize in
Okay.
me a selfish character.
Hmm.
So that is why a leader should have that EQ.
Hmm. But I also joined the Toastmaster in Delhi once, and yeah, it's a very nice initiative to because we all know that English became a first language in India. If you want to be successful, if you want to pursue your career in any way, so it helps a lot to enhance your skills and enhance your speaking skills, and to become a leader, to speak in front of the crowd. So it really helps actually. Okay, ma'am. So you are a PhD holder, and uh, please share the glimpse of knowledge with us about your research. How was your research? How was your thesis? So थोड़ा सा आपसे उसके बारे में जानना चाहेंगे.
See, this PhD is a long drawn out process. It
Hmm.
takes minimum 3 years.
Hmm.
5 years is what they say, but
Hmm.
very often people extend it and it goes on till
Hmm.
7 years and all that.
Hmm.
So I look at it from two angles. One is that
Hmm.
the subject that you choose, will it
Hmm.
sustain your interest for such a
Hmm.
long drawn out period? Second
Hmm.
is, after you get that PhD and when you come
Hmm.
back,
Hmm.
is there something that is useful for the
Hmm.
rest of those who get acquainted with you?
Hmm.
Otherwise, what's the point of a degree if that is not
Hmm.
going to be of any use to you in your career,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
if it is not going to have an impact on people with whom you acquaint yourself with in your career? That is
Hmm.
why I took the larger framework of women's studies, and I
Hmm.
worked on two novelists, one from Kannada,
Okay. Hmm.
Vaidehi, and one
Hmm.
an English novelist, Shashi Deshpande.
Hmm.
And both of them don't consider themselves feminists. They never say that they
Hmm.
are feminists. But
Hmm.
when I went through their works, I could
Hmm.
see that there was that deep empathy for
Hmm.
women and what is happening. I won't say was, what is happening to women in society. I
Hmm.
don't mean to say that all women are sufferers, but there is a
Hmm.
large group of women
Of women.
who
Hmm.
suffer still in society. So when
Hmm.
you read the works,
Hmm.
you get a better understanding of what is happening to your
Hmm.
own sisters. That is why the
Hmm.
concept of community of women. Do I
Hmm.
understand what is happening to women of
Hmm.
other sections in society? And is
Hmm.
there something that I can do to create
Hmm.
awareness, to help them out? So that kind
Hmm.
of thinking starts when
Hmm.
educate yourself. Otherwise, I don't think our thinking goes to a deep level. We will only look at something and then we think, oh, this is what is happening, but we will not go to the root cause of the problem.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's why I took women writers and women's issues, women's rights as the larger framework.
mm,
And I could see that, whenever I take class,
mm,
especially at the post graduation level, we can always
mm,
have discussions. And when we have that kind of
mm,
discussion, our students also get that awareness and they might get
mm,
inspired to put in more work, much more than what we have done, what their teachers have
mm,
done. So we
mm,
can be instrumental in bringing about that kind of change also.
mm. So, what does feminism means to you? What is feminism? What we talk about? It's a trending word nowadays that everyone is talking about the feminism. Everyone is talking about the women empowerment, women rights. So, what is feminism to you, and what's the need for us to talk about this? Why?
See, sometimes I feel this whole
Hmm,
business of women's rights and all that, there might
hmm,
be constitutional changes, there might be many progressive acts, and our
hmm,
Prime Minister himself has done so much for the welfare
hmm,
of girl children and women and all that. But
hmm,
what happens is, at the basic level of interpersonal relations, the
hmm,
relation that a husband has with his wife, the
hmm,
way men look at women,
hmm,
if at the attitudinal level there is no change, all
hmm,
the other changes are of no use at all. That is
hmm,
why I feel when you say feminism,
hmm,
sometimes women themselves are hesitant to use the word. It's as though it's a taboo word, as though
hmm,
women who call themselves feminists are, fighters.
hmm.
It's
They
not
are like
that.
different. Hmm,
Yes. So many
hmm,
women are, worried even to use the
hmm,
word feminism.
hmm,
And
hmm,
they say, no, no, not feminism. We are humanists. We are asking for human rights. But if there is
hmm,
any section which is subjugated in one way or another, just as
hmm,
you would work for any
hmm,
person, belonging to the so called lower stratum of society, in the same
hmm,
way, because you see that certain injustice is being meted out to women,
hmm,
and if
hmm,
you try to create awareness about it, what's wrong? Because we need that kind of awareness. As
hmm,
the saying goes, when we talk about women's issues, we say it is like the proverbial blanket, which was once
hmm,
asked, "Where are you now?" And the blanket replied, "I'm at the same spot where I was thrown last time." So with
hmm,
women's issues, it's like that. It seems to be
hmm,
going in circles. We think that, okay, we have so many new rights given to us. We now work, we are all employed, we have financial independence, we are educated. But at the
hmm,
basic level, there are so many problems which have remained unresolved. So
hmm,
we need to be constantly working for the welfare of any section of society which
hmm,
does not seem to have equality. As far as
hmm,
society is not an egalitarian society, in different
hmm,
fields we need to work.
hmm. Okay, being a scholar, because you did your research on this topic, so I just want to take your opinion on the root causes. If I can say, like, women are not a decision maker, or what? Why they lack?
No, I mean, why aren't they decision makers? Because they have not
Hmm,
been
hmm,
brought up with the idea that they can be decision makers. So you see, there
hmm,
are these invisible forces operating in society. From your
hmm,
childhood, if you
hmm,
are given that kind of input again and again and again, that you are inferior to men, and it's
hmm,
a man who has to take decisions,
hmm,
then where do you develop that idea that you can be a decision maker? So
hmm,
there are invisible forces in society in the form of literature, in the
hmm,
form of religion, in the
hmm,
form of multimedia.
hmm,
There was a time where we saw any number of movies where the boss was always a man and the stenographer stood. Now we don't have, because we don't have that kind of note making now. But
hmm,
those days we used to have the boss sitting and dictating notes, and the stenographer would always be a woman. We saw movies
mm,
where the doctor was always a man and the woman
mm,
was always a nurse. Those things have changed
mm,
now. Those
mm,
things have changed. But still, when it comes to the question of making choices,
mm,
even to this day, men, most of the men, I won't say all men, but
mm,
quite a few men, I won't even say most, quite a few men still don't think that a woman should be given complete freedom when it comes to making choices. So I feel everything comes down to that single word choice. Do
mm,
I have the freedom to choose what I want to do? And decision makers, if we are not, that is because of the invisible influences in society, not that we lack that quality.
Yeah, very beautifully you explained. I think it might be helpful for the viewers. And what's the biggest challenge did you face in your life? And what was your ways like you deal with that?
Sonika, I might disappoint you with my answer because you might feel that, okay,
Okay.
nothing has been that difficult for this woman, you may feel,
Hmm.
because
Okay.
thank God I haven't had such a crisis in my life where I
Hmm.
felt that I was against the wall and I had come to the dead end and things like that. There have been
Hmm.
small challenges which I think
Hmm.
are part and parcel of life of everyone. I don't think there
Hmm.
is a single individual who can say that he or she has
Hmm.
gone through this journey called life without hardships or without challenges. I have
Hmm.
not had great challenges at all.
Hmm.
Professionally, probably once or twice, when from degree college, I was put in PU because that was the year of bifurcation and we were sent to PU because seniors were in degree. And later on, although I was a senior, this thing called
Hmm.
redeployment came. And from a college where I was teaching for more than 3 decades, I was
Hmm.
transplanted and put in another college. So it took
Okay.
time to get adjusted.
Hmm.
But at the end of
Hmm.
the day, when I look back, I felt it only
Hmm.
added on to my experience
Hmm.
because I immensely enjoyed teaching at the PU level, where it
Hmm.
was a smaller, you can say that it was a smaller strength. It was not like degree and PU together, only PU. So there was a
Hmm.
greater rapport with my colleagues,
Hmm.
with my students. And when I
Hmm.
was put in a government college after being in a private college for 3 decades, I learned so much. In fact,
Hmm.
I thought, oh my God, what good standard the teachers in government colleges have. That was actually my response. That was actually my realization. And
Hmm.
even students, I had so
Hmm.
much, I can say, so much respect from students in
Hmm.
that college. It was
Hmm.
at the end of the day, when I look back, I feel it was a blessing in disguise that we had that redeployment. When it happened, I thought, I was shaken out of my complacency. I
Hmm.
was disturbed. But after that,
Hmm.
when I look back, I really feel my colleagues and my students and my principal all added so much to my repertoire of experience. So I don't think
Hmm.
even that was a challenge in the real sense of the word.
Hmm. Yeah, when the memory comes about that, so it comes with positivity in you. Okay, so the highs and the lows, all have you been through? What have you learned? What is essential for the to living the joy in life?
Yes, I told you right at the beginning that I'm the one who
Hmm.
values life. When I
Hmm.
look around, when I come across some tragic instances, every day we read the newspaper, we come across young girls, young boys, without having the
Hmm.
tenacity for life, committing
Hmm.
suicide. I feel, what is it that pushes them to
Hmm.
that extent of
Hmm.
coming to a dead end and saying, this is it, I want to put an end to my life? I can't imagine.
Hmm.
That is why
Hmm.
I feel, more than anything else, when we teach our
Hmm.
students, more than
Hmm.
anything else, we must see that we give them what we call the resolve. to fight challenges. We must see
mm,
that they have that tenacity. They have
mm,
that strength to say
mm,
that this too shall pass. This is not the
mm,
end. This too shall pass. So, can we give that kind of message to our students every day,
mm,
indirectly, bringing it into the fabric of our teaching? Because I feel
mm,
if they don't have that adaptability, they crumble.
mm,
We think we are preparing them for the future by preparing them for a degree. What is the
mm,
value of that degree if they don't
mm,
know how to deal with the challenges of life? So every day the
true.
indirect education lesson that we give to our students should be
Mm,
that there will be
mm,
difficulties. Life is not going
mm,
to be a bed of roses, but
mm,
every difficulty should be taken as a challenge which will
mm,
only make them grow. And
mm,
any difficulty, any complication, that too shall pass and they will
mm.
have better times. Are we able to give them that message along with our academics? Is what.
Yeah, actually, it happens because we are living in a competitive world. So everyone is thinking like only this target and only those achievements is valuable, even more than their life. So you explained and you delivered a very beautiful message from this platform, and I'm thankful to you. Uh, just because of this kind of beauty you shared. Okay, so you are very inspirational actually, and your thoughts and your way of life, your positivity. Who is your inspiration in your life?
And
Hmm,
if I say my parents have inspired me, again, you will feel that it's a cliched answer. Everybody talks about the parents, my dad, my mom, and all that. But I'm
hmm,
sincere there simply because they gave me the right values.
hmm,
They did not give me wrong values of attaching too much importance to money. I'm not saying money is not important, money is
hmm,
important, but
hmm,
they also showed that there are equally important things along with
hmm,
money, that is human relationships, how we
hmm,
have to care for our family, how we have to care for maybe even the extended family, maybe
hmm,
neighbors, maybe friends, maybe strangers, how to be compassionate towards
hmm,
strangers who might be in difficulty. So
hmm,
that's the kind of values they gave me. So I remain indebted to them and I take them as my inspiration to that extent.
hmm,
But when I look at my life, which, as I have told you, has been a very moderate life without too many highs and lows, nothing
hmm.
inspirational, nothing too depressing either.
But you are so
When I,
inspiring. How can you say that you are not inspiring? You are a working woman. You manage your both personal and professional life. You did PhD after married life, and you are saying that you are not inspirational at all. How can you say that?
no, when it comes to
It's
balancing
very
maybe
inspiring. Yeah.
work and personal life, maybe, but when it
Hmm.
comes to some women, who have contributed so much to society,
Hmm.
I feel those are the ones. Of course, we can't hope to be such great women, but those are the
Hmm.
ones who are truly inspirational. But
Hmm.
even if you forget those great women, for me,
Hmm. Hmm.
women who have faced
Hmm.
challenges of life,
Hmm.
even without having any hope for the future,
Hmm.
are
Hmm.
inspirational to me. Let me explain what I mean by that with one
Hmm.
small incident from my life, if you permit
Hmm.
me. You
Yeah, of
know,
course.
years ago when I was young, okay, when I was in
Hmm.
my college years ago,
Hmm.
I visited my cousin,
Hmm.
and there I saw a lady carrying
Hmm.
a child and
Hmm.
walking. And we thought, okay,
Hmm.
she's carrying her child, we thought. But later
Hmm.
on, when she put the child down, we
Hmm.
realized that the child was a handicapped child, retarded
Okay.
as well as handicapped, and she was trying
Hmm.
to feed the child, and the child was completely retarded and handicapped.
mm,
At that point of time itself, I was shaken to look at the mother, who was feeding the child and taking full care of that child, forgetting even to have her food and things like that. But
mm,
what really shook me was
mm,
years later, I'd gone to
mm,
the railway station in Mangalore,
mm,
and I had gone to see someone off. So I was standing there when I
mm,
saw a lady come to
mm,
the compartment, and with a lot of difficulty, she was carrying a child. Even at that point of time,
mm,
I thought, with a lot of difficulty, she was trying to get onto the train.
mm,
And suddenly, something came to my mind. I recollected something, and I went to look at the face of that lady, and I tried to get a closer look at the lady. And to
mm,
my shock, I realized that it was the same lady. And the
mm,
first thought was, for so many years, she has been carrying her son,
mm,
because that
mm,
son was totally handicapped, and she must have
mm,
come down and she must be going back to her place. And I
mm,
thought, what level of sacrifice this mother has made in her life for the sake of her child. So when I look at women of this kind, I feel,
mm,
but still, you see, she was traveling by that train, which
mm,
means that
mm,
she is going around with the child, giving the
mm,
child also maybe the pleasure of going around, and she is also
mm,
trying to get something out of life without saying,
mm,
I can't do anything with myself, I can't do anything with my child.
mm,
She's trying to get something out of life. That's when I feel these are truly inspirational. And when my daughter delivered, I had a woman who had come to take
mm,
care of her. And when she
mm,
received a call, and she was speaking in a high pitch,
mm,
and I heard her say, don't worry," in our local language. It's just
mm,
one lizard, it will go, don't worry, she was saying. And I
mm,
could also faintly hear a boy screaming, screeching from the other side. Then I asked her, "What's the problem?" I asked. So she said,
mm,
"No, there is something has entered the house and he's getting scared." I
mm,
asked her, "Is there no one at home?" "No,
mm,
no one, he's alone." "How old is he?" "7," she
mm,
said. And I was
mm,
so shocked. I thought, you see,
mm,
you leave a
mm,
7-year-old child at home,
mm,
and you come to work for another and to take care of
mm,
another child just because you
mm,
need that money.
mm,
Then I told her, you go home immediately. And why is he at home? Why hasn't he gone to school? Some holiday, she said. Then I told her,
mm,
whenever you have a problem of that kind, bring him
mm,
along with you.
mm,
Don't leave him behind alone. But that day,
mm,
my heart went out to her.
mm,
And I thought, these are the women who should be respected
mm.
for the kind of sacrifice they make. For their livelihood, they make this kind of adjustment.
Yeah, actually, you made me emotional. And there is no price for it. She never asked for, any thank you. She never asked for any price. She never asked for anyone's time. She always just does the things and on daily basis. So it's
Unconditional.
yeah, it's very emotional thing when I became the mother. Then I feel the things what my mother did for me. Okay, ma'am. So yeah, your inspiration is very nice, and I think we should uh, take the teachings from you that what the real inspiration is. At last, we want to take a message from you. What is your message for the viewers from this platform?
I think the pandemic has
Mm,
taught us that no matter what we do, we
mm,
cannot really be fully prepared. Now, I may educate myself thinking if I educate myself, I will have a good job, I will have financial
mm,
security, and all that. But nothing that we do can
mm,
be a complete preparation for our future. And unfortunately, we can't prepare the future for us. So,
mm,
the most important thing for us is
mm,
to be adaptable. We must
mm,
have that quality of adaptability.
mm,
No matter what changes take place, I will see to it that I adapt myself to the new situation, and
Hmm.
I will see to it that I will bounce back without giving up. Let's always remember, whether we are
Hmm.
50, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, or 70, let's always
Hmm.
tell ourselves the best is yet to come. So if we,
Hmm.
that is Carol Dweck, growth
Hmm.
mindset. So the best is
Hmm.
yet to come. If we tell ourselves, I think that's
Hmm.
the best thing to do to ourselves.
And it's a secret thing about you. What made you young in this age too? And it's a glow of your positivity we can see on your face. Okay, ma'am. So thank you so much. Thank you very much for joining us and for sharing your inspirational life journey with us. Uh,
Sarika, thank you. And let me congratulate you on this
Thank you
new
so
enterprise. And you have ferreted out women. See, I'm from Karnataka, Mangalore.
much.
We
Mm,
are so remote from each other. And you have
mm,
reached out to me. You have asked me for this interview. And it's like we had Inner Wheel theme years ago. Strangers are friends whom we have not met. So you have given me this
mm.
feeling that we have friends all over. We don't know when we will meet them.
Oh,
I wish you all the best as well.
thank you so much for these kind words, ma'am. And it means a lot, actually. It means a lot. And it's my honor, to be with you. Such a personality. It's time to say goodbye, and we will come again with the new inspirational stories, with new real life example again. So till then, keep smiling and keep rocking and keep learning new things. Thank you so much.